So, one of the videos that comes to my mind every single day is when you described the creation of the vortex material when Esther, Ham, and Jerry were in a trailer park the conditions were unpleasant. They
were recording it.
You're exactly right.
And it was hot.
Yes.
And ugly.
Yeah, right.
All that they could see out of the window was a big white side of a trailer.
So when I hear that video, your guidance to follow my joy and follow my bliss has served me really well in life. And I thank you so much for taking me down that path, but every single day.
But let's talk about that just for a moment, because that story, as much as you've heard of it, implies that as Jerry and Esther were sitting there recording, and it was hot, they were in the bus, 4 air conditioners needed to keep it cool on that hot Colorado day, and too much noise when the air conditioners were on for recording, so they had to be off. So they would record for a little while and then cool the place down, and then record for a little while and cool the place down.
But it was also one of the most joyful experiences of their life, right?
So in this conversation about path of least resistance, when intentionality is very strong and you're on your path about something that really matters to you, then things that you might ordinarily say were big enough problems that they should have kept you from having a joyful time don't. That's what we were talking about that alignment. It's an unconditional alignment. The conditions did not have to be a certain way in order for Jerry and Esther to in that moment be satisfying everything that they were about. So what you're saying is that the alignment trumps everything. The alignment trumps all conditions once you get in that place where you can be in alignment no matter what the conditions are.
Neat. Okay, so
you following?
The reason I'm having a little bit of a mental challenge with that is because it seems to me that
it seems contradictory, and it also is not possible for you, for anyone, to understand the pathiness, the trueness of anyone else's path, because you don't have the ability to understand the vibrational integrity of what's going on in anybody else's relativity between their vibration and what's in their vortex. Almost anybody else would have looked in on that situation and said, isn't there something else that you could be doing that would be more upon your path? But they would not be able to understand all of the intentions that were being satisfied by Jerry and Esther at that time. The placement of where they were was important to the journey that they were on, just in terms of where they had just been and where they were going next. There were so many things that made it a perfect match for them. While there was a component that could it have been better? Yes, it could have been better. But on this path of least resistance, the alignment superseded everything. And so it was a joyful experience anyway.
I can see that, but the reason that I'm confused...
We'll come back with you. We want to hear what you're saying. The thing that we really want you to hear is that when you find that place of true alignment, so much so that the conditions become irrelevant, then the conditions for the most part acquiesce to the things that you're really wanting. But if you are in that place where you're needing to satisfy conditions before the alignment can happen, then you will always be in a place of lesser guidance. Let's just put it that way. We'll hear you.
Following your bliss makes sense to me, and the fact that they arrived at bliss makes sense to me. But you said in the video that there was a million things Esther and Jerry would rather have been doing before they forced themselves to get into their bliss.
This is a really good subject. This is a really good conversation to have relative to path of least resistance. This is going to be a little bulky, but you're going to get it. We're asking you to do something that you probably cannot do, but let's go for it anyway.
Cool.
So what do you think is the path of least resistance for Jerry and Esther? To do their work or to do something that feels less like their work?
Less.
What do you think is the path of least resistance for them? Let's talk about Esther, Jerry and Esther, but at this stage of their journey. To get into that place of connecting with Source and express with clarity words with vibrational basis that satisfy their reason for being, or taking a walk through a park.
Hawk. Oh, they're both amazing.
Well, both are good, but that's what we're saying. You can't tell for Jerry and Esther, but there was no question for them what was the path that was best for them.
Okay.
What do you think would be the path of least resistance? To experience the benefit of these 3 days, that they didn't need to be driving to the next destination, and to do something in those 3 days that was masterfully meaningful to both of them, or to take a walk through the park.
So you're saying the deeper meaning of what they were trying to accomplish?
We are saying that no one can know but you what's in your vortex. Only you can feel what's calling you. Here's a sort of scanty example. It would be like a man being very exhilarated about his job and working on a project that is really calling him in a very powerful way. But his family is not invested in that intention of his. And so they're constantly clamoring at him. All you do is work. You never want to go play. Well, what we are getting at, in the harmonics of the world, he would say, well, I want to find some balance and I want to give some of myself to my family. But in the world of really satisfying his own intentionality, what he wants to do is follow the path of inspiration when it's coming to him. And no one else can read that for you, you see.
Okay.
This is an important conversation to have as we're trying to talk to you all about your path of least resistance. You have to factor out what everybody else thinks, or even everything else that you have ever thought before this moment in time, because right now is where all of your power is. Oh, let's start here. Right now is where all of your power is, right here and now. And by all of your power, we mean your power to align, your power to hook up with all that you really are, your power of clarity, your power of worthiness, your power of everything. All of your power is right here and now. And what we mean by your power or your empowerment is your ability to hook in with the wholeness of who you are, so that in that absence of resistance, all of you is focused here and now in this powerful moment, you see. And when you are in those moments, you feel the perfection of them. Now, does that mean that this is the only thing that you're ever going to do? No, it means that that's what the path of least resistance is right here, right now for you.